up, Tzu Chi volunteers hold a pilgrimage to celebrate the 20th birthday of Singapore Tzu Chi chapter. We take a look at Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers' work in helping needy children in the country. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. For the past 2 months, Eastern China Tzu Chi volunteers have been conducting home visitations in Shanxi province. On a recent outing, the volunteers came across a downpour, but they did not let the rain stop them from visiting care recipients. Besides showering local residents with love, volunteers also provided them with much-needed emotional support.
China's Shanxi province does not get much rain, but on this day, volunteers encountered a rare downpour. However, the rains did not douse the fire in these Tzu Chi volunteers' hearts. Arriving at Senior Sha's house, Tzu Chi volunteers gave the man of the house some friendly advice towards solving the strained relationship he has with his son-in-law.
Give him more love and you will eventually dissolve the problems in his heart. It's not because you are not good to him or that he is not good to you. Like I said earlier, he grew up poor, which resulted in his defensiveness.
Continuing from last month's visits, East China Tzu Chi volunteers once again visited those impoverished living on the Huangtu Plateau. Grandmother He has been bedridden for 7 years and can't help but shed tears when she sees volunteers visiting her so soon again.
Look on the bright side. That way your appetite will be better. Try to get some exercise so you will get healthier. Don't be upset now.
At another care recipient's house, volunteers find that despite living in poverty, the Xia family has been able to put 2 children through college and care for 1 grown daughter with special needs.
There are so many of us here that she doesn't recognize, so of course she wants to protect herself. It would be the best if we stand farther away from her. That way she won't need to be as defensive.
Mrs. Sha's bravery and determination inspires volunteers to sing a song of encouragement. Amidst the chorus, the daughter seems to understand the hard work of being a mother, and from her timid smile, Tzu Chi volunteers' hearts are warmed as well.
This year marks the 20th anniversary of the establishment of the Tzu Chi Singapore chapter. To celebrate the occasion, early morning on October 6, 420 volunteers gathered outside the local Jingsi Hall to make a pilgrimage. They also connected with Taiwan's Morning Volunteers Assembly in Hualien to report on their 20 years of efforts.
Now that the rain is past us, we will start our pilgrimage.
The sun has yet to rise and the ground is still wet after the rain, but here outside Singapore's Jingsi Hall, Tzu Chi volunteers are celebrating their 20th anniversary through a pilgrimage. On this special day, the Singapore Tzu Chi chapter connected via a live feed to the Morning Volunteers Assembly in Hualien, Taiwan. Besides reporting on the good deeds the chapter has been doing locally, Singapore's director lead fellow volunteers in a vow. Seeing the past 20 years of Tzu Chi in Singapore, volunteers are reminded of their initial enthusiasm for joining the organization and are inspired once again.
It's very moving to see so many people now, as previously there were really a limited number of Tzu Chi volunteers. In the future, I look forward to having more people join Tzu Chi.
I hope that I do not leave the ranks of volunteers. When I feel lazy, I should think about Master Zheng Yan's and other volunteers' actions and how much effort they put in and be inspired by them.
From one seedling 20 years ago to now over 27,000 Singapore Tzu Chi volunteers and members, everyone looks forward to gathering more like-minded individuals.
I hope in the future we can recruit more bodhisattvas to join us to walk the Tzu Chi path.
来大爱的行列。
Singapore is a country which enjoys good social welfare benefits, yet high medical costs have made it difficult for low-income families or those who suffer from chronic illnesses to receive timely and proper treatment. Hence, the Tzu Chi Singapore chapter opened their first free medical clinic in 2004, which 6 years later, the Tzu Chi Health Screening and Medical Clinic opened its doors to the public.
There exists such a place in Singapore where local residents can receive medical treatment free of worries. Established in 2010, the Tzu Chi Free Health Screening Centre provided health checkups for local residents in Singapore. Later, the centre was expanded and renamed as the Tzu Chi Free Health Screening and Medical Clinic and incorporated the services of dentistry, ophthalmology and general medicine.
Although Singapore may appear to be an affluent country, however, there are places where one or two families are in need of assistance, and it is our job to seek out these families.
It costs around $200 to see a doctor in addition to transportation fees. There is no way the poor can afford this, so we realized another important need, and that is the need to do home visitations.
Doctors cross the barriers of poverty to reach their patients and bring an end to their long years of isolation. Since the establishment of the first Tzu Chi Free clinic in Singapore in 2004, each unveiling ceremony has represented another milestone for Tzu Chi's medical mission in the country. Tzu Chi's free clinic in Chinatown was relocated to Red Hill, which boasted a more spacious venue. As traditional Chinese medicine is the most common choice for seniors, the clinic expanded its services to include both Chinese and Western medicine.
There are many seniors living in poverty here, so Tzu Chi has set up a location here to provide free acupuncture services and prescribe medication to the elderly, something which we are truly grateful for.
And the success of the health screening and medical clinic in Jurong East can be attributed to the joint collaboration of Tzu Chi and the government. Every inch of land in Singapore is worth an inch of gold. Thus, the rental in this area is extremely high.
It's because the Singapore government recognizes and acknowledges our work. That's why Tzu Chi was able to use this land. Think about it, more than 300 square meters of space is extremely expensive to rent in Singapore. But our rent is less than $700. It's very cheap.
It is Tzu Chi's years of efforts that have gained them recognition from Singapore's government and subsequently the successful expansion of Tzu Chi's medical mission in the country. On average, 1 out of every 4 people in Singapore suffers from a chronic disease. Therefore, it is hoped that Tzu Chi's medical services can help bring more residents' health conditions to light.
After finishing their recent volunteer training program, Southern Africa Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to South Africa's Pretoria to hold a tea gathering in hopes of recruiting more bodhisattvas to Tzu Chi's cause. Although hesitant at first, residents were touched by Tzu Chi's message and eventually 22 decided to sign up as future community volunteers.
On the streets or in front of houses, wherever people are found, Tzu Chi volunteers are inviting one and all to their upcoming tea gathering.
To see what you are doing, what you want to do for you, for your neighbors, for your family, and support you.
Pretoria, South Africa has its fair share of illegal immigrants, many of whom were hesitant to attend Tzu Chi's tea gathering for fear of being reported. Volunteers, however, asked for only 5 minutes of their time.
It's mother nature. He classified under own. So like in turn we should love and cater for them and care for them.
Information was given in English, Zulu, and the local dialect. 5 minutes quickly turns to 50, but no one leaves and some in the audience even raises questions. At the end of the day, 22 of the attendees decide to become community volunteers.
It doesn't matter, or if you're 10 years old, doesn't matter.
thanks to events like this, the Tzu Chi message is slowly finding a home in South Africa.
With the Indonesian Jing Sihal marking its first anniversary, beginning today, we look back at the profound impact that Tzu Chi's work over the past 20 years has had on this nation. Though Indonesia's economic growth rate stands at 6%, however, some 20% of its citizens are low-income earners. The Indonesian government estimates that there are currently 4.7 million homeless children in the nation, a phenomenon Tzu Chi noticed 2 decades ago and has taken steps to counter.
In the capital of Jakarta, high-rise buildings are symbols of the country's booming economy. As one of the most populous countries in Southeast Asia, Indonesia's economic growth rate currently stands at 6%.
On the streets in Jakarta, one will find many vendors selling a variety of products. The amount of hawkers highlights the issues of many still working odd jobs to make ends meet. The widening poverty gap means that there are more abandoned seniors and children.
Hong Yaling was less than 1 year of age when she was abandoned. Today, at 13, she's without a family or a healthy body. Despite suffering from congenital brittle bone disease, Hong remains positive. However, when facing our reporter, she becomes camera shy. Indonesia Tzu Chi volunteers referred Hong to an orphanage some 13 years ago. Though birthdays remind these children of their past, it is also on those days that Tzu Chi volunteers ensure they are not forgotten.
Every time the kids see Tzu Chi volunteers, they'll run towards them like they're seeing their own mom or their own family.
To these youngsters, love needs to be proven over time.
These children can't just stay in the orphanage and not go to school, so we began providing educational funds to help these children continue with their studies.
Going to school is Hong Yaling's happiest time of the day. As she sings her way to class. Nevertheless, in the other corners of society, many homeless children remain living on the streets. At an age where they should be attending school, these youngsters are out on the streets begging for a living. The Indonesian government estimates that there are approximately 4.7 million homeless children in the nation, of which the 7,000 living in Jakarta are just the tip of the iceberg.
We send out some kind-hearted people to speak to these children to get to know them. Then we hand out Jakarta's smart cash card so that they have money to go to school and buy food to eat.
Though the government is taking the issue seriously, however, not every child is willing to be placed inside an orphanage or go to school each day.
These children want to remain on the streets because they think living out there is easier. They don't have to study, go to school, or abide by rules. Our job is to care for them so that they will want to go to school.
Only when these children find stability and receive an education will there be hope of finally escaping poverty.
When selflessness is given to those on the edges of society, what impact will it have? In 1993, Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia began their charity work, and over the years have changed the lives of countless needy residents. In our next report, we look into the current medical situation in Indonesia.
As pointed out by many educators in Taiwan, academic performance does not determine if a person has good moral values or not. Therefore, starting from September of this year, National Taiwan Normal University has stopped listing behavior and conduct achievements on report cards. To remind students to be responsible for their actions, the school has instead introduced a reward and punishment system. Slowly walking into the classroom even after the bell rings, playing on cell phones or even eating breakfast during lectures. This is a common phenomenon seen in all universities. The enrollment of this class stands at more than 100. However, when it comes to attendance, there are many students missing. In the past, professors would deduct marks on character education for those that are late or skip class.
I once received a bad grade on character education in university because I missed a meeting.
Over the years, more and more educators have suggested that marks on character education have no influence on students' moral development.
Sometimes students get tired of listening to lectures and wandered off to do something else. It is our responsibility to remind them to focus. Everyone makes mistakes. What is important is to correct those mistakes and do good deeds. We can't judge a student according to the marks they receive on their character education.
Every teacher has a different set of standards, and thus a grade on students' character is often far from an objective representation of the student's actual character.
Even though I only have 18 to 19 students, how can I mark them according to their behavior and conduct? There's no way for me to tell if they truly have good conduct or not. If a student has been awarded many times, he or she may receive more than 100 points on his or her character education. The problem is, does this mark accurately represent the student's personality or conduct? If a student says, "Hi teacher, should I give him a 2-point bonus on his character education grade?" I think grading students according to their behavior and conduct don't make sense and is pointless.
On September of this year, National Taiwan Normal University officially became the first university in the country to stop grading students on their behavior and conduct.
After we abolished the marking system, it is now up to the disciplinary committees, which are made up of faculty members, to judge students' behavior and conduct.
Students' behavior and conduct are now marked according to a reward and punishment system. Cheating at exams and consumption of illegal drugs are considered a major violation and result in 1 warning. The student will be expelled if he or she receives 3 warnings. The purpose of the reward and punishment system is to remind students to take responsibilities for their actions.
We are university students. We should be able to control ourselves. I think grades are only temporary. Everything still depends on ourselves.
Currently, the reward and punishment system is used in universities throughout Taiwan. National Taiwan Normal University's initiative in abolishing the character education grading system has won many supporters.
We are talking about a set of rules that have been in Taiwan's educational system for ages. I think everyone in society is responsible for students' moral development.
As marks on character education do not have a large influence on students' moral development, it is up to parents and society at large to be positive role models for students. Today we meet another recipient of the 10 Outstanding Young Persons Award, Lin Wei-yun, who left Taiwan when she was 17 years old to study theatrics in the United Kingdom. However, Lin was later inspired to move to Poland when she stumbled upon a painting by a Polish artist. Now she is a Polish literary translator, a poet, and an artist dedicated to promoting Polish arts and culture.
Come lunchtime, the dumplings cooking in the wok show just how busy Lin Wei-yun is. Having just returned from Poland, she immediately dives into her translation work. Her journey began when she was 17 years old, the year she chose to drop out of high school.
When you walk out onto the street, you will find a whole lot of after schools and daycare. They'll tell you about how they'll prepare your child for good grades, but that just seems to be it.
A woman of immense courage and tenacity, Ling left Taiwan to study theatrics in the United Kingdom and later settled in Poland. Now 31, Ling is one of the few Polish literary translators in Taiwan. Popular fantasy classics to Schultz are all her representative works.
Schultz's work makes mention of light, which spins off the ceiling in a room. When the light spins, the light which reflects onto the wall looks like reflected light of the 7 planets.
Showing us the poster she designed for her latest translated work, one can see how her ideas steer away from the traditional. Ling's efforts in promoting the Polish culture has also been personally recognized by the Polish government.
I don't think there will be a lot of people like me who will organize an exhibition for the sake of promoting a book, or even organize a mini art festival.
Even with the applause, Ling's rebellious nature and individualism has made her a loner on this journey.
What my husband and I have in common is that we are loners. I often tell people that it was the poster I saw which inspired me to move to Poland. But really, it was also because I didn't know what I wanted to do at the time.
Once an outspoken and rebellious girl, Ling has become a caring and loving mother. However, what will never change is Ling's passion for literature.
In Kaohsiung's Qianzhen district, we meet care recipient Ms. Zheng, who suffers from cerebellar atrophy and chronic depression. As Ms. Zheng has to look after her family, she has no time to take care of her living environment. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers were mobilized to help her clean up.
Here at care recipient Ms. Zheng's house, items are scattered all over the place. Suffering from cerebellar atrophy, a reaction to the medication she was taking to treat her depression, Ms. Zheng is unable to manage her household chores.
Ms. Zheng suffers chronic depression and takes medication for it. Her mother suffers asthma and is unable to look after the 2 kids as well. This family is in desperate need of outside help.
Today, Tzu Chi brothers and sisters are here to give her house a huge makeover so that she and her family can live in a comfortable environment.
To improve the family's living condition, Tzu Chi volunteers thoroughly clean the house inside out. In total, some 40 volunteers showed up to join this event. As well, the volunteers brought a new mattress and bedding so this family can look forward to a peaceful night's rest.
To care for the needy in Malaysia, the local Tzu Chi chapter has been hosting gatherings on a regular basis. Thanks to volunteers' years of dedication, many care recipients have learned to donate their love to help the less fortunate and get meatless. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.